Hello, everybody, and welcome to the cast assessment for EpochORG All Stars. I'm joined here by my only two hosts that have been here for every season. We got Zach and we have Tony. Tony is being represented by two spinning squares for this. We'll see if
Yeah,
his
and
video ever comes back on. And Zach
if
is
I
a
sound
monkey.
heated, it's because we spent the last half hour teaching Mike how to press the unmute button on capture.
Tony also couldn't figure it out. I'm
missing a
I
part of
said no
this.
tangents in the outline. Okay, so this is just gonna be
It's true.
we're just gonna go through go through the cast person by person and then give our kind of overall takes on each tribe and on the entire state of the game. So we're gonna start with the Apocalypse tribe. We're gonna go in alphabetical order here. So we're starting on the A tribe, and with our only A name, we have Addie. So just so everyone knows, this tribe is Addie, Bethany, Britt, Brooke, Nolan, Rocky, and Wayne. So we're going to start with Addie here, who was third place on season 4, fan favorite and hero of the season. So I want to start with this. So Addie lost after a tie vote in a 2-2-2 that happened because of a juror leaving. And I think that she arguably is the closest that anyone's come to winning our game without actually winning, because if Kez just stays on the jury, Addie might win, because that was Kez's closest ally by the end. So, Tony, what are your expectations for Addie coming into All Stars?
I mean, that's just an incorrect statement you just made there. I don't think Kez goes home if Kez. Okay, so if Kez gets mathematically voted out,
Tony,
or leaves
I
and
didn't
chooses to
ask
stay
you
on the
that
jury,
question.
let me correct you. If Kez chooses to stay on, then maybe Addie wins the 3-2-2. I think Kez's vote is up in the air though in that one. But also if there's a tribal at Final Four, Addie is Fallen
Jesus
Angel,
Christ.
if I remember correctly. All right.
I told him no
Great
tangents.
High expectations. Addie's gonna be great. I'm excited to have her back. She's young compared to the rest of the cast, which is a liability.
Youngest player on the cast.
And I'm sure like that was part of the reason why her game wasn't really taken seriously on Ancient Egypt. But she did really well. I mean, she essentially, first she survived Free Range Rocks because that was just the type of season Ancient Egypt was, and she managed to basically flip from one power alliance to another right at the perfect time to get her to the end with a great shot to win. If Addie wins Final Immunity and takes out Nick, I don't know if she wins cleanly at Final Tribal Council, but like, there's a good chance she takes it. Dave had a great Final Tribal Council, which I'm sure we'll get to when we talk about Dave. But yeah, no, there's a lot going on. The fact that all three of them are on this cast makes it. There's so much to talk about.
Yeah, I think that's our only season with the final 3 where all 3 of them are here.
Yes.
Yeah. Zach, what about you? What are your thoughts on Addie and her chances coming in?
I really like Addie. I think she's really really good socially, and not only that, but might be one of the most like game aware players that we have, and knows like her positioning in the game and who the threats are and who she can work with to make a move and make things happen. So I have pretty big expectations for her. I think she'll be pretty good.
You can tell the difference between Zach, who has notes, and me, who is just talking out of his ass.
It's gonna be so bad. Yeah, so I hosted Addie in either her first or second org when she was like 14, and I've seen her come a long way and get a lot better and better and better, and I think we're probably going to see her keep getting better in All Stars. So next up on Apocalypse is Bethany, who was 5th place on season 5. That was Ink and Empire. Bethany's an interesting one because she got voted out pre-merge, and then that was our Redemption Island season. She comes back in, makes it all the way to Final 5. So, Zach, what do you think about Bethany's standing in the game coming in as maybe not maybe people are less expecting her compared to some of the other Ink and Empire players?
That could be. But I think her coming back from redemption and then still making it to Manali is kind of a testament to her game and just her survivability and underdog, playing as an underdog. I was kind of worried with the redemption twist that they would just vote out the person who came back right away, but
Yeah.
She proved me wrong on that and had a good run.
Yeah,
So I'm excited to see what she can do here.
And Tony, what do you think Bethany can do to improve on her game from last time to maybe avoid, being the pre-merge target like she was last time?
I mean, honestly, there's not really a ton that she has to change. Bethany played a pretty quiet, pretty solid social game. Her vote out during the pre-merge, which I recognize neither of you remember, because I didn't remember this till I was going through everything today and doing write-ups for preseason stuff. She got swap fucked pretty bad.
Oh.
Survived the first swap vote by playing an EV and flipping Soam, and then Soam flipped back because it was Soam, and that's just what Soam does.
I do remember that. No, okay.
And then her eventual boot at Final 5, she essentially was able to very quietly survive blindside after blindside after blindside early in the merge, where threats were just going down left and right, to the point where all of a sudden she was sitting there, no eyes on her, really great social game, not a target, probably going to sneak the end and win against a bunch of people the jury didn't really like. And then Megan hard targeted Patrick, and because Patrick is crazy, he managed to flip Soam and Vintage onto Bethany, essentially. It was not like pure bad luck, but it was one of those where sometimes you just kind of end up in a scenario where sometimes you just lose. The thing with Orgs is that more people lose than win, which is a crazy statement, but like, at the end of the day, 20 people on this cast are going to end up getting voted out.
Lose. They're going to lose.
2 losing Final Tribal Council. Yeah.
Well, Tony just leaked that it's a Final 3, but
it's a 21-person season. It's not going to be a Final 2. We're not sick. We're just mean.
Okay, next up on Apocalypse Tribe is Britt, who was the second place finisher on Season 3 Merchant Republic, got Villain of the Season, and split fan favorite with Jenny. Britt's in this weird position because her first time she was like very dominant and part of that duo with Jenny, gets crushed at Final Tribal by a jury that just didn't like her. And now she's on a cast with 3 people from that season, including two jurors. So we have her on a tribe with Nolan. Do you think, and Tony, do you think anything from Season 3 might come back to influence this game?
Oh, good lord, she's got so much baggage, bro. I know Britt, I've known Britt, I love Britt, I've played with Britt, we were Ride or Dies way back ages ago in like 2022 on EpochORG. I voted her out of All-Stars in tier-breaking fashion.
Mm-hmm.
For her to succeed on this season, she needs to not be in her own head about the way that Season 3 ended. She's very capable of that, and she did, I think, just win a Big Brother org, so hopefully she's in the headspace. Because if she is in the headspace of, the jury is going to be bitter against me, it'll go bad. Now, the good news is, I don't know what her relationship with Baz is. I can't speak to that. Her and Ben Zed butted heads. Britt blindsided Ben Zed, who was admittedly trying to blindside Britt that same round, so kind of tit for tat, but Ben Zed was pretty bitter about it. Her and Nolan did work together. And Nolan fought for Britt on the jury. So, of all the people for her to be on a tribe with from her season, other than Jenny, which was just never going to happen due to the way
never would have happened
sorting tribes, Nolan is basically the best possible draw for her.
Yeah, and Zach, what do you think of Britt's like situation coming into this game?
I think Britt is possibly one of the strongest challenge beasts that we've had, so I think she can do well early on helping the tribe win challenges and then possibly having a run for individual immunities as well. And the other thing, I think that she'll do better socially in an all-stars environment where it's a lot more competitive and people kind of understand game moves and that better and don't take it as personally. So I do think she can work things out in her favor here.
Yeah, I think Britt comes into the game as one of, I would say maybe even a top 5 biggest threat on the cast. It's close. And speaking of big threats, the next alphabetically here is Brooke, winner of season 2, Technicolor fan favorite, who came very close to getting voted out, and then pulled off this 9-3 idle play, and then turns it all around from the bottom, goes on to win. Zach, we'll just start here because we got 4 winners on the cast. Do you think the winners are gonna get hard targeted from the beginning, or do you think that's what the type of cast we have here?
I hope not, and I don't think it'll happen based on the cast we have, because I mean we have a lot of players of the season on it as well,
Yes.
and just a pretty stacked cast in general. So I don't think winner status will really go above and beyond everyone else, and I do think that there's enough like big threats where the threats stick together and can do well. And even if that does happen, I think Brooke is the ultimate underdog and would know how to maneuver.
Yeah, and it should be mentioned that we have 4 winners on the cast. Brooke and Wayne. This is the only tribe that has 2 winners on it. So maybe, like Tony, do you think that will help or hurt Brooke and Wayne's game coming in to have 2 winners on the same tribe?
I'm entertained by Zach calling Brooke an underdog because she is like an overdog. Are you kidding me?
Wow.
She's won so many orgs. She's unbelievably clutch.
An incredible amount of orgs.
Like her final immunity challenge win rate is like 100% dead ass, I think, or at least it was when we talked about it. She beat my ass personally in an org. Like, no, I think Brooke's probably gonna be fine. Wayne, I will say, well, I mean, the fact that they're both of this tribe will give each other a bit of a cushion, but I almost look at Rocky a little bit more, who we'll get to in a second, as a player who might try and keep the big dogs together. Now, will he be able to deal with these personalities, / will these personalities be able to deal with Rocky? That's a question for when we get to him.
Yeah.
No, but I think Brooke will be all right. She managed to somehow survive getting voted 9 times at a joint greed tribal, canceling all those votes, and then she didn't receive a vote again until Final 6 in what was literally a last-second plan by Jem to try and save Reese. So
and didn't work.
She's a good player, and it didn't work.
Yeah.
And then she got throwaway votes at 5 and 4.
And it
almost
was
took away in FTC.
And it was such a bad plan that we had to kick Jem off All Stars and put her on Prod. Okay, so next we have Nolan, who finished third on season 3. He's with his original castmate Britt. I would say, would you guys agree that Nolan is maybe one of the more quiet players based on at least his Epoch resume coming into this, Tony?
Nolan is quiet, right, as a player, as a confessionalist. However, anytime he opens his mouth, the guy is so fucking funny. I was scrolling through looking for quotes, and I think the one I ended up using is, let's see, that's the most delusional thing I've heard since Joseph called himself a lion. And I'm pretty sure the line above that is him saying, I didn't realize Baz and Agent were so unintelligent. After he successfully pulled off the Ben Zed blindside, which again is the baggage that this entire season 3 cast has, which
yes,
is Nolan showed up an hour before Tribal at Final 6 and flipped everything with his extra vote.
It's the original sin of basically this entire season 3 cast that we have coming back.
Yeah, it's weird. I'm not sure how well Nolan is going to do. If he can make like a swap and a merge, he's probably going to be there at the end. But one does worry when every single personality around him is essentially a 10, except for maybe Bethany, who's like a 7, and Nolan's a 5. Yeah. How is it going to go? But admittedly, we don't know how active he was in DMs. He kind of like was bottom 3rd of trust rankings, if I remember correctly, during like the pre-swap, but once he hit the merge, he was constantly in the mix. So I don't know.
Yeah, Zach, how do you see that playing out with the personalities on this tribe? Do you think Nolan can he play with the big personalities of like a Brook and a Rocky, or can he kind of fit in on that, or do you think he's just going to get left behind?
I think he can fit in. I think he can play kind of under the radar and not be targeted, and then recognize like what groups there are and try to play between the groups and go that way. I think he does well with not playing the middle necessarily, but knowing who's with who and who he can work with.
Yeah, and speaking of big personalities, I think Rocky's one of our biggest, and he's next up here. So Rocky, 5th on season 7, most recent season, only has two representatives. He was player of the season and villain of the season. Rocky's a lot. We all know Rocky's a lot. Uh, uh, so Tony, I'm gonna give this to you
Oh, thank
first
God.
because
Oh,
you're.
thank God.
I know.
I've
I
got
know
so
you.
much to say.
I know you love Rocky. I'm just gonna let you go. Actually, I'm not even gonna set you up. Just take
I
the
love this
reins on
motherfucker.
Rocky.
He's so much. He yaps. He's so good. He basically ran. And the crazy thing about season 7 is he ran season 7, but because Rocky is so neurotic as a player, he like ran it, but it wasn't clean. The gameplay was kind of fluid below him. It was a hot mess. He randomly picked enemies based off perceived slights of which they had no idea. And it's all kind of in like a fun way where it's not like super duper toxic, which is great. Because a lot of org players will play for content or will be really entertaining, but also be just too much of an asshole. And Rocky
Yeah.
is like the perfect amount of asshole to be really good at Survivor. Now, unfortunately, when he had a free pass to Final 5 or Final 4, no, to Final 5, he pissed it away by telling the guy with the idol nullifier that he was going to take and play an idol on himself, which is crazy behavior for a player that up till then hadn't really made any unforced errors. I do not think Rocky will make the merge or should make the merge. If only because I think so many of these people are going to be done with his shit so early. But if he can link up with some allies, if he can link up with Reese, it's kind of good.
Yeah.
He's got some Russell Hansian energy. I'm not gonna lie, but not in like the like can't win a jury vote way. In like the I don't know, in the gameplay way. I don't know, man.
I can see a world where Rocky's number 1 on trust at the end of episode 1 and then is out of the game by the end of episode 3.
I can see it.
Zach, something that we were kind of maybe a little cruel for doing, but our oldest and youngest player are on this tribe together.
God.
Eddie is 16 years old. Rocky is 47. That is the bookends of the
They're
cast.
They're gonna hate each other.
Do you think the well, Zach, what's your opinion on how the age dynamics might come into play there?
I guess I've played with both before. I've gotten on well with both of them, and I'm kind of right in between their ages. So
yeah,
I do think that they could connect over game, but probably not so much like on a personal level.
Yeah.
But Rocky's always playing the game. I think that if he gets in a good spot with Addy, they can get something going. Maybe Rocky can get a group formed and make some stuff happen.
You're so optimistic. Addy is going to be Rocky's target, I swear to God. Like, if you just look at this tribe and you had to throw a dart at it, him or her or Britt, surely. Now, the question is, will Rocky actually be able to get them out, or will it backfire in his face horribly?
I do. This is like kind of a bit of an older tribe. We have 3 people in their 30s or 40s. We can get
20-somethings. Right?
Well, and then 1 teenager. So we're gonna wrap up Apocalypse Tribe, or go the player by player thing with Wayne, who is our most recent winner, who's on the cast because Andrew is not here. Wayne won season 6 Buccaneers. This is not. I'll just have this conversation with our first Buccaneers player. Zach, do you think that the kind of toxic reputation of Buccaneers is going to affect any of our 3 Buccaneers players, even though those three had nothing to do with it and are all great?
No, I don't think so.
I really hope so.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to be an issue.
Okay, and then more focused on Wayne here. So I think Wayne, he had a pretty dominant jury win, but it wasn't. I don't think Wayne was seen as one of the top contenders until the very end, if I remember correctly. So, do you guys think, with the way that season played out, do you think that Wayne comes in as a really strong contender to possibly make another deep run, or is he fodder?
Wayne is good at orcs. The guy was a contender on season 6. The problem was he was kind of like a Charlie Brown contender, where Lucy kept taking the ball out from under him. Every time Wayne got to a spot where it looked like he was in a good spot, Caleb gets voted out. And then they get to the merge and they're making a move, and then the bad guys have an infinite number of advantages, and so he loses Jude. They finally get the numbers, they finally take down Bro Island, and then Nate flips and uses the vote blocker to send home Bell. Who we're actually talking about next, right? Wayne's a good player. Yeah. He also survived a lot. Now, what were you going to say?
Well, we'll just do, real quick, I want to do, since we're through Apocalypse Tribe, I want to do just like an Apocalypse bit of a wrap-up here. So, if you guys can pick the two players you think are most likely to be allies on this tribe, who would you guys say? Like, who would be the two that you think, they're gonna get along great for sure?
Ooh, that's hard, actually.
I have one pairing that I think is for sure gonna happen. So I can lead here. I just feel like Bethany and Britt are gonna like each other, and are gonna like each other immediately.
I can see it. I also expect that, not a pair, but a trio between Nolan, Bethany, and Addie of older, mature org people to probably click a little bit. Between them, you can count Britt, although I don't know if she really counts as a mature org person.
She played it twice.
She did, but she wasn't active in that circle. I think the way that the other three were. Whereas I could totally see them linking up.
Hey, Tony's video just came back on.
The unspoken reality of a lot of this group is that a lot of this cast knows each other from more than Epoch.
Yeah.
Which, obviously
it's going to happen with an all-star season.
Right, it's going to happen with an all-star season. Already happens with our newbie seasons because of our casting pools.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a hell of a lot going on. And hopefully we'll keep it relatively gameplay focused. Hopefully.
What about you, Zach? Is there anyone that you see on this tribe where you're like, they're going to get along? Or if you want to go the other way and pick two people that you think are going to fucking hate each other?
Well, just off the top of my head, two people that I could see getting along are Brooke and Bethany. I don't really have too many reasons for it, just that they kind of had a similar gameplay to me. For competitors, probably Rocky and anyone. Just fill in the blank.
Rocky and anyone is crazy.
And then I'm going to do this for every tribe. I want you guys to give me the most likely future winner off this tribe, and the most likely person to be the first boot off of this tribe.
That's winner is hard. Okay, first boot, I could see Addie, I could see Nolan, I could see Rocky.
I didn't say three. I said pick one.
I know. If I had to pick one, I would say Addie only because of the age thing.
The age thing, yeah.
I have faith that she can make it. However, if I was a betting man, that's where my money would go. On the winner front, however, for one, I don't know if the winner's going to come off this tribe. It's not given.
It's not
winner tribe.
I'll get to the tribe that I think the winner is coming off of later, but yeah, I agree with you.
But I could see a Bethany win, could see Nolan win. I'm not. Am I really about to pick Brooke? No, she's double open. I can't do it.
I was gonna pick Brooke. I think Brooke is the most likely winner off this tribe because all Brooke does is win.
Fuck you, Mike. Give me Wayne. Give me Wayne persevering.
Wayne. Oh shit.
To an end game situation.
I'm gonna say Brooke is my most likely winner, and I'm gonna say Rocky is my most likely first boot. And Zach, what are your answers?
Pick one.
Most likely winner, most likely first boot.
I'd say Addy for winner.
Oh
And
shit.
I don't have a first boot pick.
Oh
Wow.
come on.
Nice guy,
It's
Zach.
supposed to be a cast assessment. Okay, whatever.
I'm sorry.
Moving on to Doomsday Tribe, and just so for everyone listening, the players on this tribe are Bell, Benzed, Kara. Is it Kara or Kara?
Kara.
Kara.
Actually, I don't know. Just say it in a Scottish accent and go with what you think is.
I can't do a Scottish
That's
accent.
best.
I'm not even gonna try. J-Ro, Nick, Panini, and Reese. So starting with Bell, who was our 6th place finisher and the fan favorite on season 6 Buccaneers. I'll just start with this. Belle really doesn't think she belongs and was shocked when I asked her, even though like she isn't even like she was very much on my cast the whole time. I was like, I can't wait to have Belle back. So to Zach, do you think there's any way like is she going to be in her own head about this at all, like, or do you think she'll shake that off quick?
Yeah, I hope she shakes it off quick. So I feel like she was really good socially and can adapt well and pretty much work with like anyone. I think once the game picks up, she'll kind of get into it and not be too much in her head.
Yeah, and I mean, I wonder if part of it is that, like, Bell didn't necessarily do anything super flashy other than playing the Legacy Advantage to save Sarah at Final 7.
Yeah.
But honestly, the way Season 6 played out, no one on this cast really did anything flashy because of where the flashy moves kind of came from and how shit shook out. Bell's, I think, a great player. Bell's a great social player. Bell is going to be interesting because I think she could go on a run here. She's a sleeper pick. I don't know.
I think Belle's definitely one of my sleeper picks. I also just like a woman has to win this season. I'll be very upset if a man wins this season.
Absolutely.
Okay, next up we have Benzed, season 3, 6th place, hero of the season. Jesus Christ, he was hero of the season. I like Benzed. I've known Benzed a long time. He should not have been the hero of the season. He very much did not like Brit for unclear reasons towards the end after being very close to her all game. This might be the most fun Benzed question for Tony. Who on this tribe is the person he's most likely to start beef with? Because there will be someone.
Ooh. You could see the New Zealand Aussie beef with Reese.
Oh God,
this
yes.
Tribe is pretty neutral. This tribe is pretty. It's Panini. Who am I talking about? He's gonna find Panini.
Yeah, no, you're right.
He's gonna be like, who is this? Who is? I can't do the accent. To be clear, by the way, Michael, Benzed was hero because he survived like 5 of the 7 pre-merge tribal councils.
Yeah.
And essentially was this like underdog all game, linked up with Britt and Jenny, played really well for the first half of the merge, and was playing well, and just got sniped at an inopportune time at Final 6.
Yeah.
And then was very entertainingly bitter. I'm excited to see what Benzed does. Ben is so smart and very intelligent and knows so much about these games, but kind of like Rocky, but in like a slightly more dramatic and messy, but slightly less like yappy way, will overthink himself.
Mm-hmm.
Of which at least she's not the only one on this tribe.
Zach, what are your expectations for Benzed coming in?
I like Benzed. I think he can play a very loyal game, but at the same time he's also kind of scheming against the people he's loyal to, where you don't expect it from him. But it works well. It can work well to his advantage. But
yeah, I've seen him play well many times. It's why he's here. But I can also just see it imploding immediately, but I've never actually seen it implode immediately on him, and I've watched him play a few orgs, so I might
Yeah.
be overthinking that. Next up we have Kara, who's season 4, 6th place. Yeah, so Kara there's 4 players from this season. She's on a tribe with one of them. She's on the tribe with the winner, who's Nick. She's the lowest ranking by several spots out of our Egypt crew who are here. Tony, how do you think Kara fits in with her, like the other Egypt people? Do you think she has allies there, or is it just kind of starting from square one?
Oh, she has allies, right? I mean, her and Addie are close outside of the org. Addie went to Rocks for Kara,
Yeah.
early in this season. I don't think there's any wow. I don't think
Bad
there's any
blood.
bad blood between bad blood. I don't think there's any bad blood between Kara and like Nick or Dave. I think
Hmm.
the Ancient Egypt cast is funny because they played very hard, but they all, with the exception of Geodude, were like pretty neutral. So Kara is gonna have friends. I could totally see her and Nick working together. I could see her and Sarah working together if they run into each other. And I think honestly, this is kind of like a good tribe for Kara. Looking at it, full disclosure, Kara came on as an alt for us in the last couple days, which is pretty sick. Thank you to her for being willing to be in that position and make sure we're able to have a balanced cast here. And yeah, I'm excited to see her play. I think she's going to be interesting.
Yeah, so Zach, what are your... I'm trying to just not say what are your expectations every time, but yeah, how do you think
Okay.
Kara fits in with it? Because I will say she's also, we only have 3 teenagers on the cast. She's one of the 3 teenagers. So do you see, like, historically teenagers have kind of gotten bowled over here, but clearly she didn't the first time because she's on All Stars. Do you think that might be a any issue for her age wise?
No, I don't think so. For Kara, I have, outside of her being very funny and entertaining in confessionals, she was a loyal player as well, and I think with the people
Yeah.
on her tribe that they could recognize that and want to work with her. I think she could be in a really good spot early on.
And I had to bring up the teenager thing to give me an easy segue into our next player, J-Ro, season 5, 7th place. Rob Jur, he's the other of the 3 teenagers on the cast. It's Addie, Kara, and J-Ro. Zach, how excited are you to see J-Ro play without Jor in the game hanging over his head the entire time?
Yeah, I am very excited to have him again. I feel bad that we let that happen and play out, but um, I think he's a really good player. He's self-aware and self-interested, so he knows when to make a move, how to further himself in the game, and can recognize threats. So I think if he can get a group of people, then he can.
Do you think that oh, you're
Sorry, my
repeating
son
a bit.
cut out.
Just do you think that J-Ro... Well, first off, I want to thank him for forgiving us for and being willing to play here again after the Jor thing. I don't know, just do you think that I can't really think of how I'm phrasing. Tony, take the reins on J-Ro.
Ah, God, I'm so happy he's back. I'm so happy he's willing to come back and play. I
Yeah.
don't think there's been a less lucky player in EpochORG, except I guess maybe Peyton. Because at least
Well,
J-Ro didn't get sunk by the Jor thing, right?
yeah.
He got to keep going, and it was he got to keep playing, but it did affect his game. I saw it pop up. I thought, no way in the world that this is gonna matter, and yet somehow the cast fell for it. Shoutouts to Nosh.
And
Yeah, I mean, without the burden of Jor, I think J-Ro is a good player. He's a pretty decent threat. He is young compared to the cast, and whereas Kara is a teenager in college, right, at uni in the UK now, J-Ro, I think, is still in high school, so
pretty sure, yeah.
it's a little bit tougher, right? I think the
Yeah.
bond's there. But on the other hand, the
Any
kid's
baseball
good.
fans on this tribe? I'm certain there isn't. Uh, maybe Nick. Nick might be a baseball fan.
Does Nick strike you? No, Nick could be a baseball fan,
I know
actually.
Nick's a big football fan, so
Football,
Nick's
yeah.
next on our list here. Oh, I just did want to say J-Ro has promised not to accidentally tie any votes, but has also promised to purposely tie some votes. So I'm
Yeah,
excited.
J-Ro, what was it, 2 or 3
It happened
times?
twice that he
Ancient
threw a hinky
Empire,
vote and accidentally
yes.
tied a vote.
One of which I believe was the first Jor vote, where the first Jor explosion happened, and then the second one was the merge vote that lasted like 48 hours afterwards because
Yes.
we couldn't get all the votes in.
Yes,
God.
that was quite fun. Okay, so next up is Nick, one of our winners, won season 4 and was player of the season. Tony, is that the only player of the season winner that we have? It's the only one on this cast, but is that the only? I think that's the only winner to win player of the season.
Yeah, because
Yeah, I'm pretty
Patrick, Sophie, are 5 and 1 respectively, and then did we get no? Who? Oh, Rocky got player. Of the
Rocky
season
was
last
player
season,
of
so
the season. Yeah.
yeah.
So does it? We're gonna we have the awards on our cast cards. Does Nick having winner player of the season coming in? I've kind of thought of him as, even though he's a winner, being a little under the radar compared to some of these players, but maybe I'm wrong. Do you think that Nick comes in as a huge threat here?
Oh, surely. Are you kidding me? The guy won. And admittedly, it was a 3-3. It was a 2-2-2 tie, but they won the game. I mean, Nick's a great player. Nick ran the Kyler vote at the start of the merge, pinned it on Jay, and then was able to, alligabler down for the next couple rounds, and then emerge when Addy was ready to flip, and basically run the game and clutch up the last couple immunity wins, or immunity win that they needed to win. So no, yeah, I think Nick should be a big threat. Now, I don't think, again, winners probably aren't going to get targeted, and Nick as a player is understated. But if people are looking for a reason to vote somebody out, I mean, they're in spades. I will also contribute, before I pass it over to Zach, that when I invited Nick, Nick said, "All for it. I'm washed now, but I'm down to play." So,
we'll see.
And then their washed performance was going to Final Four and losing Fire in an org right before this one to warm up. So,
good lord. Okay. Zach, fuck the Bears, right?
I don't mind the Bears.
I don't mind the Bears either.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so but Zach, it's kind of interesting, and this applies to all our winners that are back, where there's nowhere to go but down. Like, you can, even if you play a better game, you can play a better game and lose, and your placement's worse. So it's so hard to go back to back here. Do you think that plays in the mentality of winners when they're in an all-star, where they're like, well, fuck, any vote out is now a downgrade from my previous placement?
Yeah, I think it definitely could, and I've been there before, where I came back, had high expectations for myself again, and it can be a letdown. But at the same time, you've won the org already, so there's kind of not much to lose. You don't necessarily have anything to prove, so I think they might come in and just, I don't know, just give it another run and see what happens, not have too big expectations.
Okay, so next up here, we have the 6th player on this tribe, Panini, 2nd place, season 7, hero of the season, another season that had no heroes, and has been very active in spec chat and has maybe made some friends. Has also been playing orgs nonstop for a while and has maybe a little brain poisoning. Zach, I'll let you take the reins after I spoil the tribe wrap up. But first boot pick, right? This is the first boot pick from Doomsday?
I don't know. I don't have first boot pick.
Oh my god.
What are your thoughts on Panini if you weren't willing to say first boot pick?
Panini's probably like the most active person we might have on the cast. He's competitive and
it's a great way to put
puts in a lot on the challenges. I remember when I ran the poker challenge, he got a pocket pair of aces right away to start and ended up
Yeah.
winning it. He won the power to change it too. So
Yeah.
I think he has a lot to offer. But yeah, he just has to get the social game going.
I think that the social game might be going a little bit too much. Is is my guess. Tony, what do you think?
He's so funny. I really hope his reference in mind for what a good org player looks like isn't Rocky. Because if it's Rocky, that's going to be really bad for Panini. And I love the kid. Panini's shockingly talented at these games. And I mean shocking in a... He came on season 7 really not knowing what he was doing. I think it was his second org. And he was
Yeah.
like double orging because he's a moron. And honestly, he played a pretty good game. He got better as he went on. He started out as the annoying guy that no one on his tribe liked, and then his tribe essentially had a full 9-alarm meltdown, and all of a sudden, Panini was the steady, fun-loving guy who everybody else trusted. If he can sink his teeth in, and honestly, people enjoy him and enjoy his presence on this cast, he can very much make a run. Whereas on the other hand, if he's super burnt out and he doesn't really sink his teeth in, he could get cooked pretty easily. I'm curious though, because I'm pretty sure this is his first All-Star season. It might not be, but he was pretty close to winning season 7, right? He was essentially a really good Final Tribal Council away from it. Andrew kind of gapped him there.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, Andrew, I think, had been in Final Tribal Council before in a different org, so, it is what it is. Hopefully that doesn't weigh on Panini, because if it does, I think it takes away a lot of what makes Panini a great player, which is just how free he is with a lot of this.
I'm gonna say I don't think that will weigh on Panini, and I think he might have goldfish memory. Love you, Panini. You know he's gonna watch this after the season. After he's in 3 days from now when he's voted out,
No,
you know he's gonna
watch.
No. First tribal isn't for 4 days.
Last person on the tribe, Reese. He was Rob Jurr. Why? 6th place.
What do you mean,
in
why?
Season 2.
He went out. He got idled out in a 3-2-1.
That's true, but he also could have not been idled out if he didn't pretend to be asleep. Now, this is a question that I should have asked when we did Brit. Do you guys think that the former hosts are how much does that raise the threat level coming in?
A little bit, but not a lot. I don't think
so?
it really raises the threat level higher than anyone else who has been around a bunch or has a bunch of players from their season. Which, admittedly, Reese has a bunch of players from his season on the cast.
Yeah, and
he's
also
friends,
hosted,
right?
and he's hosted almost all of them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because
is the only people he hasn't interacted with in an Epoch capacity are Benzed, Baz, and Nolan, actually, which is kind of crazy.
That's oof, I didn't even really think of that. And he's probably come across at least one of them throughout the years, I'd imagine. What about you, Zach? Do you think that the 3 hosts who left production to play this game are going to have a rough time, or are they going to come in with so many connections that they're set?
I think it's a bit of both. I think that they do have some insight into challenge and how we put challenges together, so it could make them a threat. But you're right, at the same time, they do have the connections having hosted people, so they could be people that want to work with them just from knowing them from that. So I hope it doesn't make them too big of threats, but I could see where it happens too.
Okay, and then same thing as we did for Apocalypse Tribe, but now on Doomsday. First off, any 2 people or group of people that you just look at and think natural allies right there?
No. This tribe is pretty scattered. I mean, okay, I can see, Belle and Nick clicking just as, a little bit more understated and vibey. I can see Kara getting on well with J-Ro and Panini because they're in her age bracket. That tends to happen for her.
Yeah.
Reese is going to find an ally one way or another, whether that's through bonding or him talking at them until they choose to align themselves with him. I don't know. This one's kind of a question mark for me.
Yeah, I don't know why, but just my thought there was Bell and Kara. I don't know, just kind of give me similar vibes. I just think they might get along. I have to turn my camera off for a second here while I plug my laptop in.
This
Well, remember,
guy.
there was an extra 20 minutes of this session that I wasn't planning for. Zach, you're up. Who do you think anyone on this tribe just screams natural allies or natural enemies?
No, I don't really think so for either. I think
I think
they're all kind of
Panini.
individual.
I think Panini screams natural enemies with all of them.
With all of
No.
them.
Now,
No.
can I just say I don't know if it will happen, but Panini and Reese would be the best duo in the history of orgs.
Would be so funny.
That would be fun.
It would be
God,
so
it'd be funny.
fun.
The
So
communication breakdowns would be crazy.
yeah, so I
We
want
get-
that.
God.
Yeah, me too.
So I want them to click. I don't know if they will, but I want it very bad, and I hope that is our final two.
I do just want to say before you say Panini's going to be the first boot that I don't think Panini's going to be the first boot.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
know who
Well, then,
other than Panini will be the first boot, but I don't think it's going to be Panini. I think someone on this tribe feels like someone is going to make a glaring error, and you might hear me say that and go, "Well, that's Panini, obviously."
Yeah, of course that's
But
Panini.
hear me out. Hear me out. I don't think it's gonna be. I think he's gonna be too burnt out from Orge to do something stupid immediately.
I don't think he's burnt out. I
You don't
think he's
he ever
ready to
burns
go.
out?
I think he's ready to go. Well then, we'll start on a positive note. Everyone give me most likely winner off of Doomsday Tribe.
Ooh.
I got
I'll
one
go
that's
with
just screaming
Bell.
at me. I was gonna say Bell too. Tony, you want to make it hat trick? Hat trick for Bell?
No, I'm gonna hit J-Ro. I think I'm gonna hit the kid.
Oh.
I think
That's a good pick too.
I think if there's gonna be one of the like lower tier threats that gets the end, J-Ro is like top of the list. As is Bell, obviously.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
And then first boot picks. I think I've planted my flag pretty strongly on this. Panini is going to be the first boot of EpochORG
Somebody
season
else.
8
Somebody
All
else.
Stars. Well,
You
pick
think
someone.
this tribe is going to tribal? Oh, it's got Bell on it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, Belle is not good at challenges, but never gets blamed for being bad at challenges because she's so charming.
Belle isn't bad at challenges. Belle just is on tribes with people who are bad at challenges. I don't think she was the problem. She wasn't great.
I watched her in a fire making challenge take 26 minutes. I watched like an entire episode of South Park while they were trying to solve that puzzle.
All right.
Okay, so who's your first boot from the tribe, Tony? You
Oh,
can't.
I can't pick. I can't
You
pick.
you can't pick someone on Apocalypse and past Doomsday. You guys suck.
Okay. Here's the thing. I can see it being Kara. The problem is I have too many friends on this tribe. I can see it being Kara. I can see it being Ben Zed. I can see it being like Reese. I can see any of those three either fucking up socially or overplaying and then going. I can see it being Nick if they're not around enough and they get social gamed out because they're the winner on a tribe of 7. It could be a lot of people. It could also maybe be Panini, but I don't think it's going to be.
You know who might social game and get get yeeted out? It's
Does his
Panini.
name rhyme with Cabrini?
Yes, it does. Okay. I will not be drafting Panini. Okay.
I think he's got a good shot. Panini's gonna make Final Tribal Council again, Mike, and I'm gonna
Yeah,
show
I
him
hope so.
this and
He's
let him
gonna
comment on
watch
it.
this. I know he's
Yes.
gonna watch
You know,
this.
Mike, you know how you have that folder of people who doubted you during your intro org win? Panini's gonna put this in the folder when he wins this season.
I have
It's
I
rat
called
poison, Mike.
I have a folder in my phone called Collage of the Ron, and it's screenshots of everyone who said that I had no chance of winning in the season I won of Natura Org. And it's a long list. So next up is Eschaton Tribe. I hope I pronounced that right. Probably didn't. This is my favorite tribe. This is the tribe that I think the winner's coming off of. So, just to lay it out, we got Baz, Dave, Megan. Is it Morgan or Morgane or how did she pronounce it? I think just pronounced Morgan. If we got that wrong, I apologize. Morgan, Peyton, Sarah, and Squig. What a stacked fucking tribe. I tried to unstack it at the end, but it was just not possible.
It's another old person's tribe. That's crazy.
It's an old person's cast, quite honestly.
This
Yeah,
is like old
true.
folks, right?
So-
Is Megan older than 30?
Megan, I think,
She's
is
not.
either 29 or 30.
Okay,
If
she's
I-
28. All right.
28, yeah.
Anyone older than me is old for orgs. Okay, so starting with Baz, so season 3 winner, and in his pre-game confessional, he said how he.
Their pregame confession.
Oh, there. Sorry, I'm sorry.
Good lord.
We'll have to
Good lord.
edit that
It's a
out.
winner.
So in their
It
pre-game.
is Baz uses any pronouns.
Oh, fuck you then. I was like, wait, I fucked that up? No, I didn't.
I had them down as non-binary somewhere for some reason.
Yeah. Well, whatever. Baz uses any pronouns. So in Baz's pregame confessional, they were like, I just kind of won because the jury was mad at Brit. Feel like I didn't really deserve it. And they want to prove that they can play a strong game. So Zach, just what are your thoughts on like that headspace coming into the org? Do you think that is that a good headspace to be in?
Probably not the best. Do you think coming in with having something to prove can make it tough, where you kind of set high expectations and don't have the best time making that happen? But for Baz, I think there's a lot to be said about just him in season 3 just having respectable gameplay and being a rootable underdog, and having friends on the jury goes a long way. And if he can have the same kind of social game and have people that like him, that can go far for him.
Yeah. Baz survived 13 fucking tribal councils on a cast of 18. That's crazy. And that doesn't count the fact that they then won Final Tribal Council. So, I don't know, man. I know Baz is underestimating himself, and very much in that headspace of, I didn't deserve to win. Which, like, it's a really tough conversation to have, right? Because if you win an org, you deserve to win. You don't win orgs by mistake. Baz actually played a pretty good game. It was just a quieter game than pretty much everyone else. And strategically speaking, strictly, and in competitions, I guess, because Brit won out, Brit played the better game. Socially, Baz outplayed Brit by so much that didn't matter. And ultimately, Baz's strategic reads really weren't that bad. Baz and their allies tried to make the right move a lot. They just got foiled a lot by idols or extra votes.
Yeah.
And Britt and Jenny just pulling off bullshit. Like, Baz played a solid game on season 3. I think they're a very scary player. If any winner is going to get to the end,
it's Baz.
It very well could be Baz, yeah. Now, on the other hand, if any winner is going to go out, like, round 2 or 3, or, like, in a swap, it's also Baz.
Yeah, I can see that.
So it's tough.
This cast has so many big personalities, I kind of wonder if the quiet personalities are either going to skate by all the way to the end while the big personalities snipe each other, or it's just going to be a run of all the quiet players getting murdered one after another immediately after marooning.
I mean, remember, Baz's number 1 was Agent, of all people, so definitely not a quiet personality.
No! So then...
Oh, sorry, the other number 1 was Max, who is an even louder personality than Agent somehow.
Yeah, no, Max was loud. Grandmaster Sales, rest in peace. He's not actually... Yeah, he's not actually dead, guys.
We can probably find that information out on Google.
Yeah, it's just a tough place for Baz where he feels like he has something to prove while also being a winner with like kind of nowhere to go but down. Like I've been there. That's not the best it's not the best headspace in an org. So next up on this tribe is Dave. Second place, season 4. Their fourth and final cast member from Ancient Egypt. So I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna have to let Tony take the reins here because I don't remember that much from Dave's game the first time around. I know he played
for
well. He
starters,
almost won, but
Dave has one of my favorite episode titles in the org's history, which is "Certain Conditions May Apply, Honesty May Differ from Reality," which is from the Tribal, where the entire game blew up and no votes counted, and then Sam came back from their nap and got voted out. That
fell
set
on the
up
sword.
Dave and Nick and Addie, huh?
Sam came back and kind of fell
Yeah,
on their sword.
Fell on the sword, yeah. Where Dave and Addie and Nick took over the game with Kez and went to the end with it.
Yes.
Dave said it in his pregame confessionals, which he's not wrong on, although I don't know if the math works out, that if he had voted a different way during final tribal council during the tiebreaker procedure, because we had the finalists cast a vote, if he had voted for Addie instead of Nick, Dave might have won the game, depending on what the second tiebreak would have been. If I remember the way the second tiebreak worked, he loses still.
We were gonna kick the first juror
The
off.
first juror would go, and then and then whoever becomes the third finalist would tiebreak, which would be Addie for Nick. But
Dave, thank you for not doing that.
Mike's getting a headache just thinking about it. No, Dave's a great player. Dave kind of dominated a swap tribe in a way that we really don't see people dominate swap tribes that often because of the nature of swap tribes. He had them eating out of the palm of his hand, hit the merge, and then kind of went under the radar, and it worked out. I mean, he got to the end with a lot of friends on the jury. I think there's an argument to be made that if Kez was a juror, Kez votes for Dave, and Dave wins the game. And honestly, I could totally see Dave and Baz getting along as well, because I think they're both understated players in the way that they play. Yeah, I'm excited to see Dave back. I think Dave is someone who, he is the player on this cast who mathematically was the closest to winning, because he got a vote to win from Nick. And yeah, I don't know, not a ton more to say. Zach, you love Dave.
Yeah, I was gonna say Zach was Dave's strongest champion. Like if Dave has 1,000 has 1,000 lovers, one of them is Zach. If he has one, it's Zach. If he has 0, Zach's dead. So
yeah,
I should have said fans. Why'd I say lovers? I should have said fans. Yeah. So what are you expecting from Dave coming in? Since after being such a big fan of Dave.
Tony kind of covered it, but he was able to just build a group and then dominate with them strategically, and then at the same time lay low and help preserve that group to get further. So I was just really impressed with his strategic gameplay, and then getting to the end still and having fans on the jury and coming so close to win. I think he has a lot of upside playing again.
Just wondering, Zach, does the style of game that he played in Egypt, does it remind you of the way that you play? Because it sounds kind of
probably
familiar.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah, I feel like I might know.
Just finding a good group and trying to preserve that as long as you can.
Okay, next up is Megan, Season 5, Incan Empire, 3rd place, Hero of the Season. Tony, does she still have the record for immunity wins?
Oh, yes. She won 5.
Yeah.
She didn't just win 5, she also, I believe, won 5 of 6. Like, it was some nasty bullshit.
Megan is a challenge monster who was then completely, very ironically got foisted at Final Immunity Challenge, which was a live trivia challenge that somehow Sound won. And
Sound just won. Megan got cooked. It wasn't close.
Crushed. And I was like, whoa.
It was like Survivor Panama.
Yeah, and Megan, if Megan doesn't completely flop the final challenge after in her Terry Dietz arc, she wins. Like, she wins the season.
Yeah. Well, and that's funny, Mike, because I did watch her pregame videos a little bit before this call, and she is still in the headspace that she would not have been satisfied with that win in the moment because she was pissed that she had to win out to get there. She also, in classic Megan fashion, because she also gives us some fantastic quotes constantly. He said something along the lines of, "Guys, I'm not that big of a challenge threat. I was just in a situation on season 5 where everybody else around me sucked. So yeah, I mean she's good. She's good at this game. She's one of the bigger challenge threats in this group. Will she be targeted for that? Who knows? Can she drag her tribe to winning pre-merge immunities? Who knows?
Yeah, I think that this tribe might be very good at challenges.
Yeah.
Just based on my memories of these people.
We
did not balance this very well, honestly. Like, I tried.
We put Morgan, Megan, Peyton, and Squig on. That's crazy.
I wanted to move some of them to Doomsday, but the issue is I couldn't put Peyton, Morgan, or Megan, or Dave with Reese. So I was like, well, fuck.
It's all Reese's fault.
Basically. It was all Reese's fault, because on Apocalypse Tribe, I also couldn't put Britt or Rocky with Reese. So Reese, like, Doomsday's there because they're the only people that Reese didn't have strong pre-games with. So if that tribe gets annihilated, come back to this, it is Reese's fault. Okay. Well, next on our list is Reese's closest ally from Season 2 Technicolor, Morgan, who finished 5th. Villain of the season, I still think was on a winner's path before Reese pretended to be asleep and tanked their alliance. So yeah, I'm a big Morgan fan. I think that she at least should be one of the biggest threats in this game, and starting there with Morgan. Tony, expectations for Morgan coming this season after what she did last time?
They're so high. God, if Morgan doesn't make the merge, I'm gonna be so upset because Morgan is so good at this game. I mean, she was so good on season 2. I don't know if she wins if Reese doesn't get idled out, but like if say Brooke goes there and Jem's plan works, yeah, Morgan then is in a very real shot to make at least Final Four.
I think she'd be the most likely winner in that scenario.
Does she make Final Travel Council though?
Reese was ready. Reese was ready to throw for her, so yes.
Oh, he was. Oh, well, then
yeah.
Maybe. I think Morgan's great. I mean, and hopefully, and admittedly, it's a little bit lessened by the fact that there's like a quarter of the season 2 cast is on this season, and it's all people who made the end game, so everybody knows how each other play. They're gonna know Morgan's a massive threat. Will everybody else? Don't know. She doesn't play a lot of orcs, but she's very good when she does it. There's a chance she could link up with people that she kind of knows. I know she knows some people. She obviously knows Britt. She's on a tribe with Squig. Yeah, I don't know. I think I have high expectations for Morgan. She might lose. She is one of those players that cannot help but make herself a threat. So yeah, I don't know if she's going to be able to win, but I fully expect another good run, barring something out of left field happening.
Yeah, Zach, Tony made a good point there about Morgan being on this coming from being such a big threat, and then also being on this cast with 3 players from her original season, including on a starting tribe with Squig. Do you think that's going to blow her up at all? Because I don't remember her and Squig didn't have beef, but they also weren't allied on that season.
Yeah, I don't remember too well, but for Morgan, I think she will have one of the strongest social games, which she can then use to have a good strategic game. So I think she'll be able to connect still and overcome that. And I do think there's enough quote-unquote threats on the tribe that she won't necessarily stick out too much.
There are so many threats on this tribe. It's very helpful for Morgan, honestly. Yeah, so speaking of threats, next up here, Peyton. Season 1, 8th place, Rob Jur, rocked out. Only player on this cast who never had a vote against her? Despite the fact that she's the lowest placing player on the cast, is the only one who never had a vote against her. Has also been a host here for the last 4 seasons. Only player from season 1 who we could get to say yes. We didn't exactly have to convince Peyton to say yes to this. I think she was asking from season 2 on, hey, when's All-Stars? Am I going to be on All-Stars? I Hey, I have an idea for what the theme is for All Stars.
She
Okay.
wasn't right? What did she
She,
think the theme
she
was?
thought it was going to be an ancient Greece Olympics theme.
Oh, that's
Which,
a like great idea if we were basic bitches. Instead, we went with a
Yeah.
different basic bitch theme.
Yeah, no, that's well, I have another ancient Greece theme that she's aware of, so she should have known better than that. But we won't spoil it. That's coming up.
I was talking to Karam about this cast, right? And about how
His name isn't Corum?
out. Huh?
His name isn't Corum?
I don't know, man. I've heard it pronounced multiple different ways. I'm going with that one. Or what? I don't know. Fucking no, no tangents, no tangents.
Yeah, no tangents.
Yeah.
And we were talking about it, and he was like, "Yeah, I mean, Peyton's the lowest placing player, but you can't have All Stars without Peyton." I think
No,
that season
I would have
one
canceled the
Rock
season.
the season one rock draw being what it is, and being like this kind of integral part of the lore of the org is kind of crazy. And I wonder, even for some of these people, if it gives Peyton an almost mythical quality, where like, you know, kind of like you get on a season. I'm trying to think, like, even like not. I'm trying to think of a good example. It's too much. But where it's like it's a player who is so like kind of synonymous with the org. She's been around forever. She was a pretty big community member before she joined the hosting team, and has been an active member of the hosting team. Helps us with challenges, helps us announce things. I'm really excited to see how she does here on the second chance. Will she do well? Who knows? I couldn't tell you how Peyton's gonna do. She's a lone wolf from Camelot, which is gonna be a pain in the ass.
Yeah. That was gonna be my question.
Yeah.
Throwing it to Zach here. Yeah, Peyton's the only person who doesn't have any castmates with her on this season, but has all the other connections that Tony just brought up from hosting. So I'm just curious, do you think that does that make her like an easy, if you're looking for, if let's say they lose the first challenge, and you know, first challenge, first boot is always just, we're looking for any reason to vote someone out. Does she's the only season 1 player become a reason?
No, I don't think so. I think Peyton is extremely likable and will be able to work out of a situation like that. And being the only player in our season 2 can be an asset, as anybody can pick her up to work with. And I can definitely see that happening.
And also it's an asset because she didn't really like her cast very much, so I think it helps her.
She did say, right, I don't want to see any of them. Was that the confessional?
Yeah, no, she said, we asked who do you want to see, and she was like, no one for my season. She said that in her past history playing All Stars, she's been hard targeted by people from her season because they know she's a snake. Her username is Snakedon, and no one seems to notice this. Which is funny that she got voted out or eliminated by Rocks.
As someone who has
Tony, dead air, Jesus.
Yeah, sorry. Well, I did that mute went through.
No, you muted it. Yeah, that's why it's dead air.
I thought my headset cut out again.
As someone who has gone solo on an All-Star season, essentially, and also has played with people, much more fun to play with other people. That being said, the people Peyton would be playing with wouldn't necessarily be her allies. So,
yeah.
Meh. We'll see. It becomes a detriment if they come down to playing the tribes. But this is going on long. Let's get to Sarah.
I will say Peyton, maybe not my winner pick, but top 3 people that I want to win. It would just be such an arc, and she becomes immediately the biggest legend in the history of the org. Next to me. So, penultimate player here. We got Sarah, our only 3-time player. She was 12th place on season 4, which was her first org, which I think also makes her, I'm pretty sure, the only player here who started with us. Then she was 5th place player of the season on season 6, which was her second org. She has since played in other places other than Epoch. Zach, this is I'm so excited to have Sarah for a 3rd time, and I just take the reins. Any thoughts you have on Sarah?
Yeah, I'm excited as well, and I think it'll be interesting to see what kind of playstyle she comes in with this, as this being her third time with the org, to see if she kind of sticks with the same kind of gameplay or is trying to shake things up for this one. So I'm really not sure how she'll approach it, but I'm excited to see either way.
And she's here as a season 6 rep, because that's the season that she, was player of the season, 5th place. She was an all-star, but she has mingled with the season 4 players, so it's not a horrible spot to be in. Tony, what do you think of her season 4 connections?
Do you want to throw it to Numbers Guy and be like, hey, let me look just so I don't fuck this up, because she hasn't played with the entire season 4 cast.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's just part of it. Sarah started on a tribe with Nick, and Dave. And okay. So Sarah was on a tribe with Nick and Dave the whole time. They voted her out.
Yes. I don't think we swapped that season.
We did. They voted her out after the swap. They swapped with Numbers and then voted Sarah out. Versus Addie and Kara, who were on the Clusterfuck tribe that went to Rose.
Yeah.
So Sarah and Dave is like the secret hidden pair of players from the same season on a tribe that have actually played together. Again, the last time they interacted was Dave voting her out, although I do think Sarah basically said something along the lines of, I didn't know what the hell I was doing on season 4, so I can't really hold that against any of them. So we'll see how she's able to leverage that as we move in here.
I'm so excited for Sarah, and she might come up again when we're doing our Eschaton wrap-up. That's called foreshadowing. See, this is why I was the host. Last player is Squig. He was 4th place Fallen Angel on season 2. Player of the season. Also the only other Bills fan in the server. Love Squig. Squig had this, great duo with Brooke. Plays this incredible game. Ends up as Fallen Angel. And I still feel like he's a huge threat while also maybe being the smallest threat from that season. Am I crazy for that?
No, I don't think you're crazy for that. I mean, Squig is crazy because his season 2 arc is quite literally, he was kind of in the dumpster at the start, slowly came up. By the end of the swaps situation on that season, he was one of the strongest players in the game. They merged, his stock tanked, not really due to anything he did, but just due to the game kind of flowing the other direction. And then slowly and slowly and slowly, this motherfucker came all the way back up, to the point at which he was the final boss that he had to take out to win. Whereas if he makes Final Tribal Council, he beats Brooke and Jem pretty handily,
probably wins.
I think.
Yeah, I think he wins.
So, yeah, it's interesting. But I think you're right. He's probably the lowest threat of the big threats from that season.
Which is a great spot for him. Zach, high expectations for Squig, because he's another person on this tribe that I think, I love this tribe. I'm kind of glad it turned out this way, but it might not be super fair. But
I have high expectations as well. I kind of agree that the other from the season are big threats as well. I know this was probably one of our most stacked seasons to pull from, so I can see a lot from Squig.
Do you think there will be a fantasy football alliance, or what do you think?
No, just an immunity idol coin.
That's what we call an in-joke, guys. Okay.
No one who watches this will get that.
I will send this to people who will get that.
Except for maybe Ben, if Ben watches this.
Yeah.
But Ben has to go on a long enough run that he doesn't rage leave the server to get this, so...
Okay,
right.
So 21 up, 21 down. It's time for... We've gone through all the players. It's time for our last wrap-up for Eschaton Tribe. And this is the one I was most excited for, was the allies and the allies and the enemies.
Peyton and Megan are number ones, right? Like ride or dies. They're the
ride
same.
Or dies. I feel like
C, Control V.
I feel like Peyton. I'm just making this as such a bold prediction. Peyton, Morgan, and Megan on one side, Squig, Dave, and Baz on the other, Sarah in the middle. I just see it. I see it. I feel it in my soul.
You see the light.
I can see it, and I think the women come out on top. I think Sarah ends up going with the women, but
Then it would be Baz and Dave first off, because I don't think Morgan lets Squig go.
yeah,
The way that Morgan plays, God.
Yeah, that's why I
These
think Dave and
motherfuckers are
Baz,
put on a show.
and we're about to do first boot picks, but which no one from this tribe should be the first boot, but like if they lose, then someone has to be, and that's just not fair to any of them. But yeah. So Zach, what about you? Do you see any natural allies? Because I feel like I see so many.
No, yeah, I agree with what you said. I can see Baz and Dave for sure. Peyton and Megan. Sarah, probably with the girls, yeah.
Yeah, I think this might be the only tribe that just has a clear gender split like that. Did I fuck up the gender split? No, I didn't. So yeah, so Megan, Morgan, Peyton, Sarah, I could see that being an incredible alliance. Maybe I'm wrong. I'll probably be wrong. Like, you can't predict this. But we are certain that Peyton and Megan will be best friends. Honestly,
or they're gonna hate them, or they're gonna hate each other. That's also
No.
on the table. You never know with Megan and Peyton what they're gonna do.
by Final 12, they are going to be visiting each other in real life.
I mean, do we have code names in the spreadsheet for this season?
Yeah,
Is Peyton gonna make a random enemy?
Yeah, I was gonna
We'll
say.
see. We'll see.
First boot, right? First boot's
Yeah,
next.
first boot on Eschaton Tribe. No one of them deserve first boot the way that Panini deserves to be the first boot. But I'm going to say Dave just because I think the girls are going to come out on top. And I just think that Dave will probably be the one. It could be Baz, I think, but I'm going to say Dave. And I don't want that. I don't think Dave, and I don't think it'll happen because I think this tribe is going to murder everyone in every challenge.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
I'll be shocked if this tribe doesn't win out before a swap. If I had to pick one, it would probably be Baz. Only because if they go to one of the first two tribals, I could see Baz getting in trouble for being a winner and being quiet. Because this is the Yapper tribe to end all Yappers. Because even like Dave and Sarah and Squig, who like aren't full Yappers and not generational like the other three, are Yappers. So
yeah. Now, winner pick time, and I'm just gonna say this is my ultimate winner pick, not just from this tribe. My winner pick is Sarah. And it might be wishful thinking because I want Sarah to win. Because we were her first org, and I think it'd be such a cool story arc if she goes from first org, kind of didn't know what she was doing, to second org, player of the season, 5th place, to third time she plays, her first win. So I'm picking Sarah to win. I want Sarah to win. I am rigging it for Sarah to win. So Tony and Zach, who are your most likely winner pick off this tribe, it is an incredibly difficult one for Eschaton.
Homer pick Morgan. Homer pick Morgan every time. I think a world in which Morgan does not make the end game this season is a world where the sun is shining a little bit less bright. And means that good cannot win in Survivor. I know we gave her villain because she is a villain, but like the game, I think mostly is because Morgan plays Survivor a very similar way to the way that I play Survivor, which is very messy but very, very well. And I don't know. I have faith that she's gonna go on a run. I don't know if she's gonna win, but I don't know if anyone from this tribe is chill enough to win. So I don't know.
And Zach, you most likely winner pick from each tribe.
Mine is also my pick for overall winner, and like Mike said, might just be what I wish to happen the most, but it's Peyton for me. I think she has the most upside coming in from the first season, having been here for all the seasons, knowing who everyone is, and having some host experience. I think she'll be able to connect, and I'll just love to see her do well. You're getting rocked out.
All this theater just for Rocky to win a unanimous vote at the end.
Yeah.
So
love that as well.
Peyton is near the top of the people who I want to win and the people who I think can win. Although I will say the only thing keeping me from saying that that's where my heart wants to be, because Peyton is probably up there with the person I'm like best friends with on this cast out of all these people. But she's gonna be so annoying if she wins this season.
Yeah, dude, I was about to say, I was like, you want that?
Yeah,
You want to hear that for eternity?
She just beat us all
Yes.
kicked all our asses in fantasy football, and now she's gonna walk in, win our org after like getting robbed, like clean robbed the first time.
Oh man,
Like we can't have her back on prod if she wins this season. Like think about that.
it's
We can
too
never.
insufferable.
We can never. We're gonna have to mute her in every server. She's okay. I had one last little fun question. So we all agree. I think we all agree Eschaton is the most likely tribe to just kind of steamroll everyone until the first swap. Out of the other two, what is the most likely just complete meltdown disaster
Apocalypse.
tribe? Apocalypse.
The tribe with Rocky.
Yeah.
Is all that really has to be said.
Yeah.
Doomsday. You know what? Actually, if Doomsday starts losing, they might keep losing. But in the raw tribe, I think Apocalypse.
Zach, you? What do you think?
Yeah, same here. Apocalypse.
I'm picking Doomsday because I've hosted Bell twice, and both times Bell ended up on a tribe with 2 people on it. So I don't know if I've ever seen Bell win an immunity challenge. I'm sure she's gotten about 10% of them, and that's tribal immunity. And that one of them was in a 3-person or 3-tribe season where you have a 66% chance of winning. She still couldn't do it. Doomsday is going to get demolished. Panini's going to be the first boot, and then it's going to be chaos.
It's gonna be Panini, Reese, Benzed, J-Ro. And then somehow Bell and Kara are just there at the end.
Yeah, no, like Bell's going to demolish.
No tangents.
Yeah, Bell's going to demolish her own tribe, and then make the end game. That's how I see that arc.
We've been on this call for too long.
Yeah. Just before we leave, any final thoughts that anyone wants to say?
Yeah, I need a drink as well.
I do not drink.
I'm excited for this cast.
I'm so excited.
I am. Yeah,
Mike,
extremely excited.
we know your body's a temple.
Okay, I'm so excited for this cast. Huge props to anyone who stayed to watch every single minute of this. If you guys made it all the way, if you guys made it all the way through, ping us and let us know, and I will give you a special role in the server.
If you made it all the way through this, Mike will give you Discord Nitro.
I did not.
Yes.
Did not say that, but
Mike is giving you.
You know
Nitro.
what? First person to ping me with this, I will give Nitro for a month.
No, thank you. It's gonna be ungifted Nitro. It's gonna be whoever wins after the season.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right, pack it in.
I will. I'm gonna hold up to that. You get a month of free Nitro if you ping me and say, "Hey, I watched the whole thing and I know about the giveaway." You two are not allowed to tell anyone. Okay. We'll see who.
All right, deal.
We'll see who does that. See you guys.
No one.
Yeah, have a good one.